Well, Mike, I learned a lot about uranium. I have a couple of questions. Management seen that the prospective rebound in uranium prices might last a while. In fact, they even said it could last decades, given the push for green energy and so forth. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts about uranium pricing, and does it look sustainable in terms of a recovery that could last many years, as management seems to think?
Always hard to predict where prices are going to go, but I do think there's a good chance this could be much more sustainable than past peaks. And the reason I say that is because we've gone through an extended period of low prices now, and we're seeing that the exploration companies are not spending the money they need to explore. We've talked to several of these smaller exploration companies, and they talk about needing a sustained period of in the $40 to $50 before they'll even start to do some drilling on properties. And there's about a 5 to 10 year lag between when they start drilling and when it can reach production. So yes, this could very well be a long extended upcycle.
And you touched on this, but the management team seems to think that they are very responsive to react to the demand very quickly. And how do you believe this company is responsive relative to its peers?
Well, the company touched on it a little bit, but they have control of a process called in situ recovery, which is basically they bleed chemicals down to recover. So we don't have to go through the lengthy open mining or underground mining. And that just gets things up and quicker. But it does require more processing. And they have control of two of, I believe he said, only 7 in situ processing plants. And those are in Texas, and they're already permitted. So, you know, when they say they can get one of those plants up and running in a year or two, you know, I think they can. And that's in stark contrast to what some other companies can do.
And Mike, the management team here seems very knowledgeable. What are your thoughts about the ability of this management team to execute on this strategy?
Well, they're very open about their interest in aggregating assets. And they've done it before. Bill Sheriff put together a whole bunch of uranium companies back around 2009, right when we had the last peak, and sold it for $1.8 billion. So he certainly got the pedigree to be the one that is the aggregator, and the openness and the willingness to do it again this period. As I said, at the end, all we really need is for uranium prices to start going up.
And Mike, when is the best time to actually invest in a uranium company? I mean, do you think it's 6 to 12 months in advance to seeing prices start to rise, or is it the market kind of react to when prices start to rise? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's a very good question. Obviously, it's hard to predict when uranium prices might rise, but as the management pointed out, we're going through a period where the utilities are not locking in contracts, and the producers are not willing to sell at these type of prices. So I have a feeling when prices start to rise, they will rise quickly. What we see in the stock prices is a very quick reaction. Any hint that pricing is going up, and the stocks do really well. So it's been a period of head fakes, and eventually at one point it'll be a real rise in prices, and the head fakes won't be head fakes, they will be long-term shooting up in stock price. So when I think it's good to not try and play the game of trying to time when things go up, because they just move too quick. Think about this as we don't know when they're going to rise, but we expect them to rise by the next 12 to 24 months, and certainly it's time to get in those stocks before you see that.
Thank you for joining us for this C-Suite interview presentation brought to you by Channel Check.